Today, May 14th, the Grand Ballroom at the Hilton. The air smells like expensive lilies and over-applied Chanel No. 2. 5. It is a heavy, suffocating scent, the kind that sticks to the back of your throat. I am sitting at table 4. The centerpiece is a cluster of white hydrangeas, imported from Holland. Each stem cost exactly $120. There are 30 tables in this room. I did the math on my napkin. The flowers alone cost more than my car. My mother is laughing across the room. She is wearing a champagne-colored silk dress. Loro Piana. Retail price, $4,200. She has a glass of vintage crystal in her hand. She is wearing the emerald necklace, the one she borrowed from my locked jewelry box 2 weeks ago. She told me back then, "Maya, you'll never have an occasion grand enough for these stones. They'll only gather dust in your drawer. Let them see the light for once." 2 weeks ago, before the white linens were spread, she stood in my rented apartment, a 450-square-foot box with a leaky faucet. Drip, drip, the sound of my life leaking away. She touched my cheek with fingers that smelled of La Mer cream. She looked at me and said, "You've always been the reliable one, honey. Reliable, sturdy, like a solid kitchen chair." She thought it was a compliment. She thought I would stay in that leaky kitchen forever, supporting the weight of the family, letting everyone else sit while I held. She didn't know. As she spoke, I was holding a crumpled bank statement in my pocket. Balance, .00, 6 years of my own. $75,432.18. My dream house fund, gone in a single wire transfer from our old joint account, the account she promised she'd never touch. The money was now sitting in the driveway of our childhood home, in the form of a Portimao blue BMW M4, a gift for her, Prince. My brother, Leo. If you are watching this, please subscribe. Tell me in the comments where you are watching from. Have you ever been the sturdy chair for people who only wanted to sit on you? Flashback to 2018. I was 22. I got my acceptance letter from Boston University. Full scholarship for the master's program. My mother looked at the envelope. She looked at it like it was a flyer for a grocery store. She tossed it onto the kitchen counter, right next to a pile of unpaid utility bills. She said, "A girl goes too far for school, and her heart scatters. Leo needs a private tutor for his SATs. Leo has potential. You just have stability. You are stable like a piece of oak, Maya." Leo got a personal trainer at the luxury gym. Leo got a top-of-the-line Alienware gaming rig. Leo got a round-trip ticket to Europe for a soul-searching summer. I got a job. Actually, I got 3. A barista shift starting at 4:30 a.m., a data entry job at 1 p.m., a cocktail waitressing gig that ended at 2 a.m. I wore a second-hand uniform that was a size too small. The polyester rubbed my skin raw. Every dollar went into that account. Every cent was a brick in the house I was building in my mind. 24 years old. I was the floor manager of the cafe. 26 years old. I was coordinating corporate galas for tech firms. 28 years old. I moved out. The apartment was small, the walls were thin, but the door had a lock that only I had the key to, or so I thought. Every Christmas, Leo got the spoils. An $800 pair of limited edition sneakers, a drone with a 4K camera, a pre-owned Rolex to build his professional image. I got advice, wrapped in shiny paper. My mother would say, "You should change your hair, Maya. You look tired." A tired girl is a heavy girl. Nobody wants to look at a heavy girl. At the dinner table, the hierarchy was silent, but absolute. Leo got the prime rib. Leo got the seat facing the window. Leo got the praise for almost getting a job. I got the bill. I got the dishes. I got the silent expectation that I would pay for the wine. Now, look at Leo. Standing at the podium in the Hilton. He is wearing a custom-tailored navy suit. He is 26. He has never worked a 40-hour week in his life. His fiancée, Sarah, is next to him. She is wearing a diamond that cost exactly 1 year of my salary. Leo clears his throat. I want to thank my mother, he says, for always believing that I deserved the best. For the car that finally reflects who I am. The crowd applauds. My mother wipes a stray tear from her Loro Piana silk. She looks at me. She winks. Like we are and on a secret. Like she didn't rob me of my future to buy his vanity. She leans over to the woman next to her, a wealthy aunt from my father's side. She whispers loud enough for me to hear. Maya is such a blessing. She's my rock. Some children are born to fly, like Leo, and some are born to hold the ladder. I smile back. It is a cold, mechanical movement of my lips. She doesn't know that 3 hours ago I spoke to the bank. She doesn't know that the BMW is registered in my name, because she used my social security number to finalize the paperwork. She doesn't know that I've already reported the car stolen. The police are not here for the party, but they will be here soon. I reach into my clutch bag. I feel the cold metal of the keys to the new life I've been secretly planning. I look at the hydrangeas. $120 a stem. I hope they enjoy the smell, because tomorrow there will be no more flowers. There will be no more crystal. And the sturdy kitchen chair, it's about to be pulled out from under them. The bank alert didn't scream, it didn't vibrate with the force of a heart attack. It just popped up on my cracked iPhone screen. 7:14 a.m. A Tuesday. The sun was hitting the moldy corner of my ceiling. The notification said, transfer successful. Minus $75,000 to account ending in 4,402. 40402. That was the joint savings account. The one my mother insisted we open when I was 18. For emergencies, Maya. For family security. I had kept it open out of a habit that felt like loyalty. But loyalty is just a debt you pay to people who don't love you. I sat on the edge of my bed. The mattress was a cheap foam slab from a warehouse sale. It had a permanent dent in the center. I looked at the number. $75,000. That was 2190 days of double shifts. That was 6570 skip lattes. That was the smell of grease in my hair from the cafe. That was the sting of the industrial cleaner on my hands from the corporate gigs. It was gone. I didn't cry. Crying is for people who believe someone is coming to save them. I got up. I walked to the kitchen. I poured a glass of tap water. The pipes groaned. The water was lukewarm. I drank it while staring at a photo on the fridge. It was Leo. 5 years ago, graduating from a high school he barely attended. He was wearing a $1,200 suit. I was the one who took the picture. I was also the one who paid for the frame. I called my mother. She picked up on the fourth ring. I could hear the clink of a silver spoon against fine-bone china. She was having her breakfast. Probably poached eggs on sourdough. Maya, she said. Her voice was airy, light, like the silk scarf caught in a breeze. You're up early. The money is gone, Mom. I said it like I was reading a weather report. Partly cloudy. 0% chance of rain. All that? I could hear her chewing. Slowly. Deliberately. Leo found the car, Maya. It's Portimao blue. It matches his eyes, don't you think? He's a man now. He can't be taking the bus to interviews he might eventually have. It was my house fund, Mom. I was signing the papers next month. A house is just bricks, Maya. But a brother is blood. You're so stable. You'll make it back. You're like a cactus. You don't need much to survive. But Leo is a rose. He needs the right soil. He needs the sun. Don't be selfish, honey. It's a bad look on you. She hung up. The dial tone was the only honest thing she'd ever given me. I looked at the leaky faucet. Drip. I realized then that she hadn't just stolen my money. She had stolen the 2,190 days I spent earning it. She had turned my life into a donation to a prince who didn't know the price of a gallon of milk. In our house, potential was the only currency that mattered. The problem was, only one person was allowed to print it. Leo had potential. I had utility. Leo got the $200 an hour sat tutor. I got the $2 used workbook from the library. Leo got the private soccer coach. I got the job of washing his grass-stained jerseys. Leo got the gap year to find himself. I got the 3-year accelerated degree so I could start paying the bills faster. I remember my 16th birthday. I wanted a pair of Dr. Martens boots. I had been talking about them for a year. I wanted them so I could walk to my tutoring job without my toes getting wet in the snow. My mother gave me a pack of 6 cotton socks. Generic brand. They're practical, Maya. You have strong feet. You don't need fancy leather. 2 weeks later, Leo turned 14. He got a motorized dirt bike. $2,400. He rode it twice. The engine seized because he forgot to add oil. It sat in the garage, rusting, for 3 years. Every time I walked past it to go to work, my mother would say, "He's just exploring his interests, Maya. Potential is expensive." I started a spreadsheet when I was 19. I call it the Ledger of Favored Souls. Left column. Maya, right column. Leo, age 19. Leo got a new MacBook Pro because he wanted to try coding. I got a hand-me-down Lenovo with a missing E key. Leo got a $500 monthly allowance for socializing. I got a bill for 30% of the household utilities. Age 21, Leo got a DUI lawyer that cost $10,000. I got a lecture on why I should share my bonus check with the family. Leo got a fresh start trip to Miami. I got the privilege of doing his laundry while he was gone. The microaggressions were like paper cuts. Individually, they were nothing. But I was bleeding from it. You're so strong, Maya. You don't need the praise Leo needs. You're the backbone. Do you know what happens to the backbone? It carries the weight until the discs slip. It holds the structure until it snaps. Nobody ever thanks the backbone dead. They just complain when it starts to ache. If you're listening to this, look at the people in your life. Are you the one holding the umbrella while everyone else stays dry? Maybe it's time to let it rain. There was a man once. His name was James. He was a pediatric nurse. He smelled like peppermint and clean linen. He liked the way I organized my bookshelves by color. He liked the way I looked in the morning before I put on my reliable daughter mask. He was the first person who ever told me I was beautiful. Not sturdy. Not useful. We were together for 14 months. He wanted to propose. He told my best friend he had bought a ring. A modest sapphire. He wanted us to move to Oregon. He wanted us to have a garden. My mother invited him to tea. I wasn't there. I was working a triple shift to pay for Leo's emergency dental surgery. The surgery Leo needed because he got into a fight at a bar. My mother sat James down in the living room. She used the good china. The gold-rimmed cups I had polished every Sunday for a decade. She told him stories, not the true ones. The ones designed to poison Jamera is a complicated girl, she told him. She said it with a sigh. The kind of sigh a mother uses for a troubled child. She has a very transactional heart. She's obsessed with money. She's been hoarding it since she was a child. She'll never move to Oregon, James. She can't leave me. She's too dependent on being needed. She loves the stability you provide. She told him I was cold. She told him I mocked his salary behind his back. She told him I was only using him to get away from my duties. James called me that night. His voice was different. It was flat, like a piece of paper that had been stepped on. Your mom told me some things, Maya. She said you're only with me because you're tired of paying Leo's bills. She said you're calculating our future like a business merger. I tried to explain. I tried to tell him that she was the one obsessed with money, my money. But the poison had already reached his heart. When you spend your whole life being the reliable one, people find it very easy to believe you are also the cold one. He didn't even say goodbye in person. He left a note on my kitchen table, right next to the leaky faucet. I hope you find the house you're looking for, Maya. I don't think I'm in the blueprints. She brought a box of cheap chocolates, the kind with the waxy centers. It's for the best, honey, she said. He was too soft for a girl like you. You need to focus on family anyway. Leo's car insurance is due. That was 3 years ago. I haven't let anyone close enough to see my blueprints since. After James left, I became a machine. Machines don't feel betrayal. They just process data. 2,000 days. That's how long it took to rebuild the wall around my heart. I worked. I didn't go to movies. I didn't buy new clothes. I wore the same gray coat for 4 winters. The elbows were thin. The hem was frayed. I told my mother I was struggling. I told her I had no extra money. I started keeping a secret, a second bank account, at a bank she didn't know existed, a bank 3 towns away. I would drive there in the middle of the night to deposit cash, tips from waitressing, bonus checks, money I made from selling my old textbooks. I watched her drain the joint account. Every month she took a little more, $200 for groceries, $500 for Leo's car repair, $1,000 for a family emergency that turned out to be a cruise for her and her friends. I let her take it. I let her believe the well was still full. I wanted her to be comfortable. I wanted her to be arrogant. An arrogant enemy is an easy enemy. Age 27, I watched Leo drop out of his 3rd community college. My mother threw him a pivot party. She bought him a $3,000 espresso machine so he could be a barista at home. I paid for the catering. I ate a single slider and went back to work. Age 28, I found the house. It was a small craftsman on the edge of town. It had a porch. It had a garden bed. The down payment was $75,000. I had worked every hour of my youth for that number. I had bled for that number. I made a mistake. I left the brochure on my nightstand. Just once. I was tired. I had worked an 18-hour day. I fell asleep with the glossy photo of the porch in my hand. My mother must have seen it when she let herself in to drop off her laundry. Because 3 days later, the account was empty. And Leo was driving a Portimao blue BMW. I stood in my bathroom that morning. I looked in the mirror. I didn't see a victim. I saw an auditor. The bill was due, and I was going to collect every cent of interest. Leo is at the podium now. He is laughing. It is a bright, empty sound, like a bell with no clapper. He is telling a story about the first time he drove the BMW. I hit 100 on the highway, he says. The engine just purrs. It's like it was made for me. Sarah, the fiancée, is beaming. She's wearing a white Vera Wang dress. She thinks she is marrying into a dynasty. She doesn't realize she's marrying into a hollow tree. I look at her. She's 23. She has the soft hands of someone who has never scrubbed a floor. She reminds me of Leo. They are both orchids. They require constant misting and the perfect temperature. I am the dirt they are planted in. And the dirt is tired of being walked on. My mother is at the head table. She is holding court. She is telling everyone how she managed to save for Leo's car. It was a sacrifice, she says. She dabs her eyes with a lace handkerchief. But what is a mother for, if not to give her children wings? It's cheap. It's the kind of champagne people buy when they want to look rich, but don't know the difference between vintage and vinegar. My mother bought it with the last $400 in the joint account, my grocery money for next month. She catches my eye. She mouthed the words, "Smile, honey. You're ruining the mood." That is the only thing that matters to her. The theater of a happy family. She has spent 30 years building a stage. She has spent 30 years casting me as the stagehand. The one who moves the furniture in the dark. The one who ensures the lights stay on but is never allowed to stand in them. To my sister Maya, he says. He doesn't even look at me. He's looking at his reflection in the champagne bucket. The most reliable woman I know. Thanks for always having my back, sis. They think it's sweet. They think I am a saint. I am not a saint. I am a debt collector. And the police are 4 minutes away. Revenge is a cold math. It requires a precise calculation of... Most people think revenge is about anger. It's not. Anger is messy. Anger leaves fingerprints. Revenge is about gravity. You just remove the support and let the weight do the work. 2 weeks ago, after the $75,000 disappeared, I didn't confront them. I didn't scream. I didn't go to the house and demand the keys to the BMW. I did something much more reliable. I helped my mother organize this party. I suggested the Hilton. I suggested the expensive hydrangeas. I helped Leo finalize the car registration. He was too lazy to go to the DMV. Just do it for me, Maya, he groaned. You're so good at paperwork. So I did. I put the car in my name. I used the $75,000 as proof of funds. I linked the insurance to my credit card. Then, I waited. I waited until today. At 10 a.m. this morning, I called the insurance company. I canceled the policy. At 10:15 a.m., I called the bank. I reported the $75,000 transfer as fraudulent. I told them my mother had stolen my login credentials. Technically, it's true. Legally, it's a felony. At 11 a.m., I went to the police station. I showed them the registration for the Portimao blue BMW M4. I told them the car had been taken without my permission. I gave them the address of the Hilton. I told them the suspect would be there at 8 p.m. I told them he was likely under the influence of alcohol. He's on his third. I look at my mother. She is eating a piece of cake. The frosting is pink. It matches the blush on her cheeks. She looks happy. She looks like she has won. She thinks she has successfully traded my future for her son's vanity. She thinks I will just work another 2,000 days to replace the sand. I reach into my bag and pull out my phone. I send a text to the private investigator I hired last week. Send the photos to Sarah's father now. Sarah's father is a very conservative man, a man who values family honor. The photos show Leo, 2 nights ago, in the back of that Portimao blue BMW, with a woman who is definitely not Sarah. The toast is ending. Leo is raising his glass. To the future, he shouts. I raise my glass too. The police are in the lobby now. I can see them through the glass doors of the wall room. 2 officers. They aren't rushing. They are like the weather. They're just coming. I look at the 4 hard drawer. My aunt is complaining that the steak is too tough. I want to tell her that it's the last steak she'll eat on my dime. Instead, I smile. It's the cut, Auntie. Sometimes you get the muscle instead of the fat. My mother stands up to give her speech. She taps her glass with a spoon. The sound is sharp. It cuts through the chatter like a knife through soft butter. Friends, family, she begins. The Loro Piana silk catches the light of the chandelier. Tonight is a celebration of love. But it's also a celebration of what we can achieve when we stand together. My son, Leo, has always had a vision. And my daughter, Maya, she has always been the one to make that vision possible. She looks at me. She wants a nod. She wants me to play my part, the supporting actress, the girl who holds the ladder. I just look at her. I look at the emerald necklace around her neck, the one she stole. I think about the police officer in the lobby. He has a pair of handcuffs on his belt. They are made of cold steel. They are much more sturdy than a kitchen chair. His face didn't change. Not at first. Then the color drained from his lips. He looked at Leo. Then he looked at Sarah. He stood up. He didn't make a scene. He just walked to the head table and whispered something in his daughter's ear. Sarah's smile didn't just fade. It shattered. She looked at Leo like he was a cockroach that had just crawled out of her salad. She stood up. The Vera Wang dress rustled. She didn't say a word. She just took the ring off her finger. The diamond I probably would have ended up paying for. She dropped it into Leo's champagne glass. Clink. The room went silent. My mother stopped mid-sentence. Sarah? Honey? What's wrong? Sarah didn't answer. She just walked out. Her father followed her. Leo is confused. He is looking at the ring in his glass. He is laughing, but it's the sound of a man who is starting to drown. It's a joke, right? You're doing a bit? Maya, do something, she hisses at me. Go talk to her. Fix this. I take a long, slow sip of my champagne. I'm off the clock, Mom. What? Her eyes wide. The reliable daughter has just spoken a foreign language. Your brother's life is falling apart. Actually, I say, standing up. His life is just returning to its natural state. Hollow. Unearned. Broken. The police are in the ballroom now. They are walking toward the head table. The guests are whispering. The weather has arrived. Leo Miller? One of the officers asks. Leo looks up. He has a smear of pink frosting on his chin. Yeah? Who are you? We're here about a stolen vehicle. A Portimao blue BMW M4. The owner, Maya Miller, has reported it taken without consent. She looks at me. She looks at the police. There's been a mistake, she screams. I'm the mother. I gave him that car. It's a family matter. He looks at Leo. Sir, have you been drinking? It's my engagement party, Leo slurs. Of course I've been drinking. The scene is perfect. The Loro Piana dress is now wrinkled. My mother is clawing at the officer's arm. You can't do this. Do you know who we are? The officer gently pushes her back. I know who the car belongs to, ma'am. And it isn't him. Leo is being led away. His custom suit is bunched up around his shoulders. He is crying now. Not the noble kind of crying. The blubbering, snotty crying of a child who just realized the prince title doesn't work in the real world. Maya. Tell them. Tell them you gave it to me. The room is dead quiet. Everyone is watching. The wealthy aunts, the business associates, the people my mother wanted to impress so badly, they are all watching the sturdy chair walk away. I stop in front of my mother. I reach out and unclip the emerald necklace from her neck. I do it slowly. She is too stunned to move. This is mine, I say, along with the $75,000 you stole. I'll sue you, she whispers. Her voice is no longer a silk scarf. It's a serrated blade. I'm your mother. You owe me your life. The debt is settled, I tell her. I've paid for your house, your food, and your delusions for 10 years. The ledger is closed. I turn to the police officer. I'd like to press full charges against both of them, theft and fraud. Maya, my mother screams. It's a sound of pure, unadulterated rage. You're a monster. You're a cold, heartless monster. I look at her one last time. No, Mom. I'm just a kitchen chair. And I'm tired of carrying the weight. I don't look back. I pass the BMW in the driveway. The blue paint is glowing under the Hilton's floodlights. The tow truck is already pulling in. I get into my old beat-up car. The one with the stained seats and the engine that rattles. I start the ignition. I drive. I drive toward the state line. I have a suitcase in the trunk. I have a new bank account with a balance she can't touch. And for the first time in 34 years, the only thing I'm carrying is myself. The morning after a revolution is never cinematic. It is usually just quiet and very, very expensive. 8 a.m. The grand ballroom of the Hilton is no longer a palace. It is a graveyard of half-eaten cake and wilted $120 hydrangeas. The prince is in a holding cell at the 4th precinct. The Queen Mother is sitting on a velvet chair that she can no longer afford to occupy. The banquet manager approached her. He was wearing a suit that cost less than her dress, but he held all the power. He held a black leather folder. Inside was the final invoice, $22,418.52. The catering, the open bar, the unforeseen cleaning fees from when Leo's friends threw up in the fountain. My mother looked at the bill, then she looked at me. I was standing by the exit, my suitcase already in my car. I had come back for one thing, the itemized receipt for my own records. Maya, she croaked. Her voice sounded like dry leaves being crushed under a boot. The card. Your card declined. I know, I said. I adjusted my watch. The leather strap was cool against my skin. I canceled it at midnight. But the bill? The guests? The family honor? Honor is a luxury, Mom. You spent yours on a Portimao blue BMW. I'm sure the Hilton offers payment plans. Though with your credit score, the interest might be significant. She didn't scream. She didn't have the energy. She just looked at the invoice like it was a death warrant. For 30 years, she had signed my name to her desires. She had finally run out of ink. The legal process was a series of cold rooms and fluorescent lights. The contrast was everywhere. Leo in the Hilton. Custom navy suit. $400 haircut. A glass of vintage Cristal. Leo in the deposition. Orange polyester jumpsuit. A buzz cut he received in processing. A plastic cup of lukewarm tap water. He sat across from the glass partition. He looked at me with eyes that finally understood what stability meant. Stability was the person on the other side of the glass who held the keys. Maya, please, he whispered. It was just a car. Mom said it was okay. She said you wanted me to have it. Mom says a lot of things, Leo. She said you had potential. She said I was a kitchen chair. It turns out chairs are harder to break than potential. The district attorney was a woman named Elena. She liked specific numbers. I gave her the spreadsheet, the ledger of favored souls. Every emergency I had funded. Every DUI I had buried. Every dollar of the $75,000 house fund. She looked at the numbers. She didn't say, "I'm sorry." She said, "The evidence of wire fraud is undeniable." My mother tried to visit the DA's office. She wore a black veil, playing the role of the grieving matriarch. She tried her favorite microaggression. Maya is just emotional, she told the DA. She's always been the jealous type. Stable, but bitter. She's doing this to hurt me, not to seek justice. Elena didn't blink. She looked at my mother like she was a bug under a microscope. "Ma'am, your daughter provided bank records. You provided a performance. In this office, we only trade in records." My mother called me 32 times that night. I watched the phone light up on my nightstand. Silence. Silence is the only boundary they can't cross. 3 weeks later, the childhood home. The one with the porch I used to scrub on my hands and knees while Leo played video games. My mother was standing on the lawn. The neighbors were watching from behind their curtains. The Portimao blue BMW was being winched onto a flatbed truck. The repo man was a large man named Carl. He didn't care about wings or roses. He only cared about the VIN number. "You can't take it!" my mother screamed. "It's a gift." "It's stolen property, lady," Carl said. He spat a piece of gum onto the driveway. "And the insurance is void. Move your foot, or the winch will do it for you." I saw her face as the car disappeared around the corner. She looked smaller. The Loro Piana silk was gone. She was wearing an old tracksuit from a discount bin. The queen had been stripped of her robes. The house was next. The house was in my father's name, but the mortgage had been refinanced by my mother to pay for Leo's private schools. The payments were 6 months behind. I knew this because I was the one who had stopped paying them. I had been the hidden mortgage for a decade. I was the one who made the bank go away. Without me, the bank was a wolf at the door, and it was hungry. I drove away before she could see me. I didn't feel a surge of joy. I just felt light. The discs in my spine felt like they were finally sliding back into place. The backbone was leaving the building. 35 years old. I moved to a city where nobody knew I was the reliable one. I rented a loft with huge windows and no leaky faucets. 36 years old. I started my own firm, Blueprint Logistics. I spent 18 hours a day building a structure that belonged to me. I paid my own rent. I mowed no one's lawn. I bought a pair of Dr. Martens boots. The expensive ones. They didn't hurt my feet. 38 years old. I bought the house. It wasn't the small craftsman I had lost. It was a modern glass house on a hill. It had a garden that grew vegetables, not orchids. The down payment was $150,000. I paid it in cash. I didn't share the account with anyone. Every month, I received a letter from a lawyer. My mother was living in a one-bedroom apartment in a bad part of town. Leo was out of jail working at a car wash. Minimum wage. He was finally learning the price of a gallon of milk. It was $4.29, he complained. It was too expensive. My mother sent a final microaggression via an old aunt. A handwritten note. Maya has the money now, but she has no family. She's a success, but she's a desert. She's a sturdy chair in an empty room. I read the note while sitting on my balcony. I looked at the view of the city. The room wasn't empty. It was full of peace. And peace is the only luxury she could never buy. Today, May 14th. Exactly 5 years since the Hilton Gala. I am back in my hometown for a final piece of business. Closing the estate of my father, which had finally been cleared of her debt. I met her at a diner, not the Hilton. A diner where the coffee is burnt and the table is sticky. She looked 70, though she was only 60. Her hair was thin. Her hands were shaking. She didn't have her emerald necklace. I was wearing it. It looked better on a hardcore girl. Maya, she said. She didn't try to hug me. She knew the boundary was a wall of glass. Leo is struggling. He needs a break. Just a small loan to get his business started. What business, Mom? He wants to flip cars. She said it with a spark of the old delusion. He has such an eye for them. I looked at her. The weather report tone was at absolute zero. I checked the ledger, Mom. The balance for Leo's potential is currently negative $240,000. The bank is closed. You're so cold, she whispered. I raised a monster. No, I said. I stood up and placed a $10 bill on the table. It was exactly enough for the coffee and a 20% tip. I didn't leave a penny more. You raised a kitchen chair, but you forgot one thing about chairs. What? If you treat them like trash, eventually someone puts them out on the curb. And once they're gone, you have nowhere left to sit. I walked out. I didn't look at the Portimao blue sky. I didn't look at the prince waiting for her in a beat-up Toyota in the parking lot. I got into my own car. A silver Audi. Functional, powerful, paid for. I drove toward the highway. I put on my favorite playlist. The sound of the engine was a steady hum. It didn't purr. It worked. And as the city vanished in my rearview mirror, I realized the best part of being the reliable one. When you finally decide to walk away, nobody has the strength to stop you. Because you're the only one who knows how to carry the weight. And you're finally choosing to carry yourself. Sarah was never the enemy. She was just another piece of furniture. She was the pretty one. The girl with the 4.0 GPA and the father with the offshore accounts. She was the final trophy Leo needed to complete the illusion. 3 days after the Hilton Gala, Sarah called me. Her voice didn't sound like a princess anymore. It sounded like a woman who had just found out her prince was made of cardboard. Maya, she said, I'm at the jeweler. The engagement ring. The one Leo said was a family heirloom. I looked at the rain hitting my office window. Each drop was a specific size, specific weight. It's a cubic zirconia, isn't it, Sarah? Worse, she whispered. It's a lab-grown synthetic, valued at exactly $450. The setting is silver-plated in 14K gold. It started turning my finger green this morning. I calculated the cost of the gala, $22,000. I calculated the cost of the BMW, $75,000. My mother had spent nearly $100,000 of my life to buy a fake life for Leo, and she couldn't even afford a real diamond for the girl she called daughter. Sarah told me about the wedding dress, the Vera Wang. She had paid the $5,000 deposit herself. Leo had promised to pay the balance. He never did. The dress was still sitting in the bridal shop, a ghost of a wedding that never happened. My father is suing him, Maya, for the emotional distress, for the travel expenses, for the lies. Good, I said. Don't settle. Because once you settle with people like Leo, they think they've won. I sent Sarah a final gift, a digital file. Every bill I had paid for Leo over the last 5 years, the $200 dry cleaning tabs, the $1,200 bar tabs, the $3,000 investment into a gym business that never opened. Sarah looked at the file. She didn't cry. She just sent me a text. I hope you kept the receipt for the brother too, Maya. The car wash is on 4th and Main. It smells like industrial-grade lemon detergent and wet concrete. A gallon of the soap costs $2.49. The brushes are made of heavy blue nylon. They are designed to scrub off the mud of the world. But they can't scrub off a criminal record. Leo works the 6 a.m. shift. He wears a gray jumpsuit with Main Street Auto stitched over the heart. It is polyester. It doesn't fit like his custom Navy suit. It chafes his neck. It turns a darker shade of gray when it gets wet. He spends 8 hours a day scrubbing tires, the same tires he used to think he was too good to touch. He looks at the rims of the luxury cars that roll through. The Mercedes, the Portimao blue BMWs. He sees his reflection in the chrome. A 27-year-old man with a permanent scowl. A man who sleeps in a room with a single light bulb. A man who has to count his quarters to buy a pack of cigarettes. My mother visits him on Tuesdays. She brings him snacks. A single orange. She tells him she's working on a plan. She tells him she's going to talk to a big lawyer. He knows the lawyer doesn't exist. He knows the prince died at the Hilton. He just looks at her and asks, "Did Maya call?" "No," she says. Her voice is a brittle shell. She's busy being a monster. Leo goes back to scrubbing. The blue nylon brushes spin. They make a sound like a heavy wind. A wind that blew away his car, his girl, and his future. He realized that the sturdy chair didn't just walk away. She took the floor with her. And now he's just treading water in a bucket of lemon-scented suds. My mother lives in apartment 2B. The hallway smells like boiled cabbage and old carpet. The rent is $950 a month. It is exactly 12% of what I used to give her. She spends her days in a thrift store velvet chair. She still has the Loro Piana dress. It is hanging in a plastic bag in her closet. It is a relic of a lost civilization. She won't sell it, even when she couldn't pay the electric bill. She said, "A lady must always have her armor." She calls the old aunts. She tells them I'm traveling. She tells them I'm finding myself in Europe. She tells them Leo is overseeing a private venture. The lies are her only nutrition. They are the only things that keep her from looking at the gray walls. I received a package from her last month, a box of my old things, a high school trophy for reliability, a sweater I wore when I was 20. It smelled like her perfume. Chanel No. 5 mixed with the scent of a radiator. There was a note inside. "I'm forgiving you, Maya. Forgiveness is a gift I'm giving myself. When you're ready to come home and apologize, I'll be here. Leo needs a new suit for an interview." I threw them both in the trash. The sturdy chair doesn't do home anymore. And forgiveness from a thief is just another way of asking for a loan. She thinks she's waiting for me. She doesn't realize that I've already moved to a different continent of the heart. She's sitting in a room with a locked door, and she's the one who gave me the key to walk out. My new life is a series of quiet, expensive sounds. The click of my heels on the marble floor of my firm. The hum of the espresso machine in my kitchen. The silence of a phone that doesn't ring with an emergency. 5:12 a.m. I wake up. No alarm. Just the sun. 5:30 a.m. I drink a cup of black coffee. $18 for a bag of beans. It tastes like clarity. 6 a.m. I work. Not for a family. Not for a prince. For me. I hired a girl last week. Her name is Chloe. She is 22. She reminds me of the version of myself that used to skip lunch to save $5. She told me her mother needs her to pay for her brother's tuition. She told me she feels guilty for wanting to buy a new coat. The walls are made of soundproof glass. Chloe, I said, listen to the silence. That is the sound of a debt you don't owe. A raise. I told her to put it in an account her mother can't see. I told her to buy the coat, a wool one, with a heavy lining. Stability is a trap, I told her. Unless you're the one holding the foundation. I saw James again. He was in his garden in Oregon. He was holding a sapphire ring. In the dream, I didn't take it. I just looked at him and said, the blueprints have changed. I woke up and looked at my hands. They weren't shaking, they weren't stained with industrial cleaner. They were clean. The reliable one was gone. The architect had taken her place. If you have listened this far, you are probably waiting for a reconciliation. A scene where my mother cries and I hold her. A scene where Leo learns his lesson and we all have a Sunday dinner. That scene doesn't exist. In the real world, toxic people don't change. Tom and Jurgai being Gornji the Fongshire. They only changed the microaggression to suit the new environment. My final transaction was a simple one. I bought the childhood home. The one on the lawn where the BMW was towed. I didn't move into it. I leveled it. I hired a demolition crew. $12,000 for the day. I sat in my silver Audi and watched the excavator. It hit the porch first. The porch I used to scrub. Then it hit the kitchen. The kitchen where I was called a sturdy chair. My mother was there, across. She was wearing her tracksuit. It's our history, Maya. It's our family. No, Mom, I thought. It's just a pile of bricks and bad memories. And I'm the one who owns the land now. I'm building a park there. A public space with benches. People will come and sit on the benches. They will enjoy the sun. They will be sturdy and reliable for a moment, but they won't owe the bench anything. And the bench won't have to carry their lot. The 60 minutes are up. My story is a long, but the ending is short. I am Maya Miller. I am 40 years old. I have a house made of glass. I have a heart made of boundaries. And I have a bank account that the prince is a memory. The mother is a ghost. And the sturdy chair? She finally stood up. And she's never sitting down for anyone else again.